This is a big decision on Intrepid's part. This is one of those, are you all in on this decision? Because you better be all in. We're going to talk about it. So a couple of years ago, there was a big hoopla with the My.games situation. Steven had said from the Kickstarter campaign through the spring of 2018, right around the Gamescom convention over in Germany, they said, we're going to be self-publishing, we're going to be self-publishing. And then what happened, somebody who worked at Gamescom, who had a booth, who worked for a company that had a booth at Gamescom, they were there the day before Gamescom opened. They're setting up their own booth. So this was on in and around 21 August 2018. So what happened was, all of a sudden, Intrepid didn't even get a chance to make the announcement. And this is where Intrepid has kind of grown as a company over the last few years. Intrepid didn't have the opportunity to make the announcement that they had chosen a publisher. It got leaked that they had chosen a publisher. So that was not the way that you wanted that to happen. Now, the truth of the matter is that's going to be something that happens when there's a booth set up with the My.games logo on it and the Intrepid Ashes of Creation logo on it. People are going to see that, and that's exactly what happened. Somebody who was walking through on setup night saw it, took a picture of it, leaked it. Huge hoopla. And I understand the people's concern. And the reason why I understand the people's concern is it was like a double whammy. It was like a 1-2 shot real quick. Number one, you went right from self-publishing, to a publisher. And then you went right from self-publishing to that publisher. So it was like there was a step skipped in there, and you should never skip a step. You should always make sure when you're going to make a big organic change like that, you should make sure to be as forthcoming as you can, especially when you've kind of been beaten the mantra stick of transparent development, transparent development, transparent development. So that was Intrepid took a big hit, like right in the face. Like it was an early round, Rocky Balboa shot out of the corner and gave you like a 1-2 combination to the head. Like you're already on the ropes from that. Well, then the big thing was the community backlashed, and they said, not only did you say you were going to self-publish, you never told us you weren't self-publishing. You've continued to sell founders packs based on the mentality that you're self-publishing, and now you drop the European community this horrible publisher. Steven wants to maintain good relations with My.games. However, I can't do that. I as a content creator cannot honor that request. And I cannot honor that request because of my own personal experiences with My.games. And so I want to take a quick trip down a side road to talk about my big problem with My.games. And it came with Revelation Online. We all knew Revelation Online was going to have a pay-to-win element to it. We absolutely knew it was going to have a pay-to-win element. It's an Asian game coming to the West. You can't believe it's not going to have a pay-to-win element. And I don't care that it had a pay-to-win element. It's like I had just left Arcade. You knew what you were getting into bed with. You knew it was going to be a pay-to-win game. My problem with it came when the daylight savings time either ended or started, whichever one occurred. What happened is that there's 3 timers in Revelation Online, and you would think that they all would summon from the same clock, and they didn't. So there was a major exploit. If you were able to be up between 0100 and 0200, and you could do all of your dailies in that 1 hour window, Revelation Online has a catch-up mechanic built into it that if you run a dungeon today, and you run a dungeon every single day, you get 100% XP for that dungeon. But if you skip a day, then you get 200% XP on that dungeon. If you skip 2 days, you get 300% XP on that dungeon. It's a good mechanic in theory to make sure that the people who don't have 12 hours a day to game don't fall behind the people who can game every single day. So I'm not against that mechanic. But what I'm against is there was a bug that happened when daylight savings time ended, that if you were up between 0100 and 0200, Boom. If you were up between those 2 hours, you could run all of your dailies, get a 300% bonus, and then when 0201 hit, it wouldn't look to see if you had done anything in the 01 to 02 hour. It would just reward you based on, or it would count your counter based on what you were at 0100. So in a competitive game where you're trying to, PvP and people are able to continuously just keep hammering this 300% bonus, that was my problem with My.com. They didn't, I don't know what they could have done or what they should have done, but they should have fixed it. Well, then you get into the problem where, Revelation Online wasn't translated all the way. They went live with a lot of Korean still in the game. And I was like, oh, hell no, give me my money back. And of course, they always do we're not going to give you your money back. The funny part is, I charged back through PayPal, got my money back, but then I logged into the account. I had 2 accounts. I logged into the one accidentally, and it was still there with all the stuff. So there were a bunch of people who did chargebacks that still had all of their stuff. Well, that's just bad game management. So when Intrepid said that they were partnering with My.games, I did a video. The very first video, the first video I did was literally a news report with a little bit of commentary that this is kind of bad. And these are my older videos before we figured out I was deaf. I'm screaming at you. I'm sorry. Well, the problem was Steven watched as he was sailing his own ship, and somehow he torpedoed his own boat. He went into damage control mode, left Gamescom, went down to Amsterdam, I believe, is where the European office for My.games is, and he had a 1.5 day long set of meetings with them because he needed to hack out a lot of things. The problem is that some of the things Steven was saying didn't really sit well with the European community. But keep in mind, Steven still was growing as a public relations figure. So it was ugly. It was a bad baptism by fire. Well, they got it all squared away. And My.games has never actually really supported Ashes of Creation as the publisher. You could buy packs there for a little bit, and then you stopped being able to buy packs there. When Apocalypse was live, there was a big hoopla with people didn't want to bind their account to a My.games account, but the only way to play Apocalypse through Steam was to play, if you had to bind your account because the Steam was region locked. So it was never smooth. That's the big one. It was never smooth. Well, yesterday we got this news, and of course, I would have covered this live yesterday because right when they made the announcement was right when I was going to dinner. Well, yesterday we got the news that Intrepid Studios expands publishing operations to include the European Union and the CIS. And everybody was instantly happy. And what I want to give Intrepid mad props for is they finally hit an announcement where I can't find a mistake in the marketing cycle. The only mistake I see, right? The only mistake I see was the 1.5 days of speculation because some things got done out of order. The things that got done out of order was, and this is that thing I was talking about in project management, you need to have somebody whose whole life it is to have a really big management board. And so when you say you want to take X action, they plot X action across all lanes, and how is this going to affect everything? Obviously, Intrepid had started putting the pieces together to bring on their own European team. But they released those job announcements before they released the announcement that Intrepid Studios was expanding into Europe and CIS. All in all, it's a mistake, but it's not a ding-worthy mistake. It's not like, oh my God, what a colossal fuck up. it's something that they need to take notice of, and they need to realize, okay, we had a blip outside of our process. But all in all, it was very smooth. They released the announcement on a Friday. And if you guys don't know why you release big announcements on Friday, if you don't know which direction the announcement's going to go, Friday is the perfect time to bury news. Because then hopefully the news burns itself out over the weekend. If it's bad news, it burns itself out over the weekend. If it's good news, it shows right back up on your doorstep on Monday. And that's what you're hoping. It usually works the other way. But what really got them the A+ on the assignment was the questions and answers. They pushed it out. They already had the webpage built for the new Adventure Awaits. And they hit all of the important bits and pieces. Now, unfortunately, some people are raging and they're angry because they can't delete their My.games account. That is not Intrepid's fault. I get it, you're pissed, but you were never told to make a My.games account except for the sliver of people who wanted to play APOC through Steam. Nobody else was told to make a My.games account. I constantly told people in the Discord, don't do anything until you're given further instructions. Then again, I'm a military person. I'm used to marching till I'm told to stop and stopping till I'm told to march. So not doing anything. Hold on, I'm going to get to the referrals. I will get there because that's on my list as well. The thing is they gave you very specific instructions all the way down the line. What if I don't want to transfer or migrate my account? You can get your refund through My.games. And I know some people are going to bitch. They're going to say, well, why did the My.games people get a refund, but European players who bought an ashesofcreation.com account can't get a refund? Regional laws, different places. What happens to my personal information associated with My.games? You can reach out to the sport team, but honestly, somebody was trying to work through this yesterday. You have to almost give them more information about yourself to purge your information. It's like, please give us everything on this list, and you can't not put something in. Well, I'm not going to give you any more. I want to know what information you have. So what is it for the Europeans? GDPR? And I'm going to be honest, if you're not getting the support you want from My.games on deleting your information, just put in your GDPR violation request. Just put in your feedback and say, look, this is the site that they're making me fill out in order to get my information, which requires me to do required field submissions. I would not give you any more information if I wanted to get rid of my information. So I know Europeans, you have your GDPR, you can file a complaint. They have to respond to it within like 10 days. If My.games isn't going to delete your shit for you, advance in the appropriate lane. The referrals will work. How will referrals work in Europe now? That question actually came from my 8 July interview with Steven. They probably don't have an answer for that yet. I know referrals are very important to everybody who's out there making content or trying to get people to sign up. Referrals are very important to me. That's why, I shamelessly shill periodically during my show. That's why there's a link down there below that you can register with. That's why there's links on my website to register with. Because it's important. Those referrals are important. That's cash money for Americans. I know that it's important for you. However, it's not a priority for Intrepid. Right now, the priority is to get the European office set up. So just keep in mind, your priority is there. We'll get to it, but we can't make this our priority. I lost my coin. The referral system hasn't been a priority for them for a long time. It has. It functions. It works. The problem is they're in the process of removing Xsolla as their shop. They want to make sure that they don't. And I didn't really understand what they were trying to talk about previously. I don't know what they were talking about previously until I started having my own website, and now I definitely know what they're talking about with the double touch time, the double tack time. I have just spent a week touching every single page on my website because it was built wrong in the first place. And then I had to touch everything again last night to make the next change. So I understand why when they get rid of Xsolla, they want to get rid of Xsolla and have their new setup all in place at one time. Touch time, only a single touch time, is a very important thing. I know that people are saying, well, I can't see the numbers you've generated from pre-orders. Yes, I understand that. I do understand that. All I can tell you is that the data is there, and I will personally assure you, I know exactly how much several people in my organization have spent. And when I get a number from Intrepid, the number better be higher than the number I have. Because if the number I get from Intrepid isn't higher than the number I have, that's when I'm going to be like, look, Steven, I know you're a good dude. I know we're friends, but I'm going to have to have a full accounting of my referral system, because at that point it's not friends. At that point that's a business. That's like the Paradox Gaming Network Incorporated is officially asking Intrepid Studios, we need a full accounting of our affiliate standing. But what I'm willing to bet is, although we can't see it today, I'm willing to bet it's working, and you know, when it catches up, it's going to be like, oh, I was expecting this much and I'm getting this much. We're good to go. I understand you've got 1,500 referrals. I mean, I'm in the same boat with you. We're rowing to the same destination. It would have been nice if it was a higher priority for them. I 100% agree with you. One problem with that was probably tied up with the regional thing. Because we don't know all the moving pieces behind it. Keep in mind when people say, well, Amazon can do it easily. Yeah, Amazon is an international company with, you know, offices in pretty much every, you know, region or country or, you know, area of responsibility. They have an office there for that reason. Now, some message saying that would have been nice, though. We got no mention of it. You know what? I agree that it would have been nice if they had thrown a referral blurb in there, but I can definitely understand why they didn't, because no matter what answer you get, if it's not the whole answer, you're not going to be satisfied with anything other than the absolute full answer. So I get why sometimes you gotta pick and choose what answers you all give at one time, because this was kind of directed towards the European community, and everybody wants answers on the referral system. I mean, there are people who get upset about the referral system because, like, one person was criticizing the whole program because they said, well, they owe you the money now. And I was like, they don't owe you the money now. They owe you the money when the game launches.
What are you still doing here? Nobody ever stays this long. This is the end screen. Well, since you're here, there's a couple other videos I think you should check out. And all those names, those are my patrons over at Patreon. I couldn't do this without them. So, big thanks to them for all their support.